is Gwen, reading aloud for you from my novel, The Heartbalm Effect. Book 1 in the Medicine Women of Alaska, Chapter 12. As he sipped his morning cup of coffee, Paul gazed out the picture window and studied his half-finished back deck. He'd been aching to work on it, and now it stood there, unfinished, incomplete, a silent reminder of what he had yet to do with his cabin. With a doctor at the clinic, though, he realized he could take a few hours off this morning and spend some time on his home. A surge of pleasure energized him. He finished the coffee, found his tool belt, and strapped it around his waist. He walked out to the back deck and set to work hammering the floorboards. He'd work through the morning, shower, and then head to the clinic after lunch. Rachel hurried to the clinic, called Caitlin Border's parents, and asked them to come see her, then did her rounds. Still no sign of Paul. A few hours later, Margie approached Rachel as she sat in her office dictating her reports. Rachel looked up. Caitlin Border's parents are in the lobby, Dr. Lavange. Where's Dr. Livingston? He's not here yet. I'd like to wait till he gets here before I talk to the Borders. Wise decision. Margie left. Rachel opened the PDF file of consent forms that Dr. Myers had emailed her, printed them up, and sat back, pleased. She just noticed an unopened email, again from Fred Myers, and hovered her finger above the button to open it when a knock at her door interrupted her. "Come in," she called out. Margie poked her head in through the door. "Can I talk to you?" "Of course. Come in." Margie entered, closed the door behind her, and stood with her back against it. "I know you're planning to talk to Mr. and Mrs. Borders about putting Caitlin on this new drug protocol." "How'd you know?" Rachel asked. "Kid, these walls have ears. You're okay with this, aren't you?" Rachel asked. "Yes," Margie said, stretching out the S with a sibilant hiss. "I know you're a good doctor, and you care about this little girl, and I know you wouldn't talk her parents into this treatment if you didn't believe in it." "Okay," Rachel said and chuckled softly. "There's a but in there. Yes. Are you going to tell them the real side effects of these drugs? That it'll make her even sicker than the chemo? That the drugs I'm proposing she take are so lethal they may kill her before the leukemia does?" "Yes. Are you going to share all that with them?" "They've got a right to know, don't they?" "Yes, Dr. Lavange," Margie said evenly. "They do." Rachel swallowed. She looked at Margie, at this lady who'd proven to be such a good person, a good nurse, and a potential friend. "Yes, I am. But there's a 50-50 shot Caitlin will die anyway." Margie let out a sigh as she collapsed into a chair. "Well, that's honest at least. Is this okay with you?" "Honey, I'm all for anything that can save this little girl's life." "Then what's the problem?" Margie flashed her a wry smile. "Okay. I've finished giving you a hard time over the permission aspect, but are you ready for my next question?" "What's that?" "Did you run any of this past Dr. McDreamy?" Rachel laughed and felt herself blushing. "I'll take that as a no." "Margie, I don't know what to say. He told me to go ahead if I could get the drugs for free. And I did. Going behind his back on treatment of his patients in his clinic." "I'll talk to him about this," Rachel promised lamely. "Did you ever run this past him? Tell him you plan to call Mayo and join their clinical trial?" No. You didn't even tell him?" Maggie asked, aghast. "I will, I promise." Margie gazed at her hard. I'm warning you to take care. About what? Dr. Livingston takes his practice very seriously, and you've committed a serious error if you think he'll be okay with you doing something like this behind his back. Oh, crap. Rachel put her face in her hands. Now she saw exactly how her conduct might look to someone like Nurse Margie, who felt protective of Paul. She saw it through Margie's eyes. Some young doctor goes behind his back and gets one of his patients to participate in a clinical trial with Mayo Clinic, and then maybe she gets a prestigious job at Mayo and a guaranteed co-writing credit on a clinical paper. But she wanted to save the patient's life. Yes, but it will also bring you critical fame and attention if you get a co-writing credit on the paper. But she was going behind Paul's back. She seethed with resentment, and yet she also understood. I like you, kid. I really, really like you. But if you even attempt to put a knife between his shoulder blades, you'll have me to deal with. Okay, Rachel said resentfully, I get it. And that isn't what this is about. What it's about is possibly a cure for a very sick little girl. Margie shrugged as if to say it was of no concern to her. Maybe things will work out for you here and maybe they won't. But no matter what happens, you must defer to him as the managing physician. This is his clinic and you're changing things up. I meant to talk to him. You'd better do it and soon, because if he finds out you went behind his back, I didn't go behind his back. It'll look to him like you did. I'm trying to help save a little girl's life. And he's still your boss, girlie. Grow up and smell the coffee. I thought it was smell the coffee beans, Rachel asked with a mild smile. Whatever the hell it is. Margie stood up and walked to the door. You need to let him know, stat, before he finds out by accident and gets mad at you and fires you. Okay. Put on your big girl panties and go talk to him. Margie closed the door behind her, leaving Rachel fuming.